Record. All right, well, welcome everyone to the call. I'm super pumped to have Nicole Montez on with us. Nicole and I are in Kristen's mastermind group together, and it's actually coming to an end soon, but she did a talk for us, gosh, a midsummer, I guess. And I loved it. I loved everything she had to say. I was so interested. I could have listened to her forever. She's going to talk to us about NLP. So it's neuro-linguistic programming. And I'm going to let her explain to you what that is all about. But I did, after that first call, I did go buy the big book.
Good. Oh, that's awesome.
I haven't gotten too far into it, but I love, everything she has to say about this. I find it so interesting and it's so helpful for our businesses. Oh, somebody here. Got it. But anyway, so Nicole agreed to do this call for us. And then she said she would leave some time for questions at the end if you had any. So fun little fact, Nicole and Kristen Boss are cousins, which I think that's super cool. And I'm sure she's going to tell you a little bit about herself, but she's actually been in the network direct sales company for 20 years. So she knows what she's talking about. So welcome, Nicole. I'll let you take it away.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Thank you for having me, and nice to meet everybody. And I'm so excited to talk to your group tonight, Monica. And gosh, I always feel at home when I talk to network marketing teams, because that's what I do essentially, or have done. It's kind of one of the ways that I work with women. And I'll tell you a little bit about me before we jump into the NLP stuff I want to talk about. I am a mom of 2 girls, and that's why I do network marketing. I started when my daughter was 4 months old. She's 20 now. So I've literally raised both my girls, 20 and 16, in network marketing, in the same company, a home-based business, with babies on my hip to babies, in car seats, and now calls from the football field and the dance competitions and things like that. So I absolutely love what we do. I love Zaya. I love your clothes. I love your outfits. I love your leggings. I'm actually wearing like a little dress today, but typically I wear leggings. And the reason why I love Zaya is because I can show the bottom half of me if I have to stand up on Zoom, because otherwise that just doesn't work. You can see through everything else. So when Monica asked me to come chat, I thought, gosh, I love pouring into women. I love matching some of the NLP skills that I've learned and really teach you how to grow in your business and move it forward from a subconscious level. My team now it's 20 years old. And when I first started, I found I didn't quite have the skills to not only move myself through some of the roadblocks and some of the things that were really hard for me, the things that took me out of the game for longer than I wanted. But in turn, I wasn't able to help my team overcome some of these failures, so to speak, that are normal, impossible to achieve a 6 or 7 figure level without multiple failures. So what I decided to do several years ago was really arm myself with a collection of tools. I didn't want to be a therapist necessarily. I love therapy. I love it. However, I wanted to find something where I could really help women move through their stuff, right? We all have stuff that continues to come back in our lives faster. So with NLP, I can essentially do with the brain, it's all neurological. Everything can essentially manipulate the brain in the best way fast. So what maybe it took me 2 years of therapy to do, I can now do in about an hour to 2 when you really work with the brain. Pretty awesome, right? I'm all about efficiency. So if anybody's knows the Enneagram, I'm a full Enneagram 3. And the thing about a 3 is, I told girls earlier today, I spoke on another call. I said, I'm not like a 3 with a 2 wing or a 3 with a 4. I think I'm just like a solid 3, right? Nothing fits me but 3, which is awesome and not awesome all at once, right? We have to learn to deal with the things that aren't great about our personality and things like that. But one thing that's great about a 3 is we really like to find efficient ways to do things so you get the best possible result fastest, right? So you can really move your network marketing business forward. So that was my original motivation, right? Was how can I develop some tools to be even a better leader? And then I just fell in love with it. I went through all of the different tools to become certified, and now spend a lot of time coaching women in the NLP space, and have fallen in love with doing it in network marketing. So kind of bridging my expertise and then my newfound love for NLP together to help women really quantum grow. So that's a little bit about me. Like I said, I get network marketing. I get working at home. I get trying to balance a family and kids and marriage and a team and a lot of people needing stuff from you every day. I've been there. I still do, right? I still do it. And it's my absolute favorite industry. So I'm going to share my screen. Oh, Monica, are you the host, or whoever's the host? Can you?
Katie is actually the host, so she can make you.
Okay. If you can, I don't know how. I don't know how to do it. Oh, so, okay. Thank you. Yay, there we go. Thank you, Katie. Okay. Okay, can y'all see that? Okay. All right. So again, Monica mentioned that NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. Essentially, it's the language of the brain. And gosh, I wish I would have had some of these skills 2 decades ago when I started, right? Because when I first started, I was on the phone with prospect after prospect after prospect. There was no Zoom, we were on the phone, right? So having some of these skills that I'm going to teach you today, not only will help you in those moments where you feel stuck, in those moments where you feel, why does this, keep coming up in my business, or why do I back up to this? Or my favorite is typically we fall into one income category, right? And we tend to hover there. What I see typically with women, it's right around the $500 to $700 mark. Then it kind of becomes that $3,000 to $4,000 mark, and then it really jumps to about 8, and then we'll go over 10. So either way, we have a place where our brain likes to stay in income wise. And if we can teach our brain to cope and go beyond that, we can absolutely grow our business much faster. Does this make sense? Is this landing? Okay, so let's talk about some ways. All right, so if you're not familiar, a lot of people aren't familiar with NLP. NLP is really, it's a complete communication model. It's how we process information. It's really how we think. Every single person sees things through their own model. I like to say it's like we have our own lens in front of us, and then we have the situation. So everybody looks through a different lens. Here's my lens, here's the situation, right? So that's why we can all see different things. Something happens, we all react differently, right? The key is what is this lens that's in front of us? It's called the critical wedge, by the way, just a fancy term for, it's the lens that we see things. It's how we process stuff coming inside. What your team's doing, what you're doing, what prospects are telling you, what your team is saying, what your husband, your spouse, your family, it's again, how we process. Most of the time, we are all in what we call affect. Okay, so affect is how we feel, it's how we think as a result of things happening. Okay, so most of the time when I work with women, I work with them because they're in affect, meaning maybe they're burnt out, maybe they're stuck at a level, maybe their business is really growing fast and they want to sustain that. And I've sustained for 20 years, so they want to learn to sustain. How can I make this last forever? These are all effects. My job and what NLP does is it takes us back to cause. Cause means, why are we where we are, right? Why are we feeling motivated? Why are we feeling not motivated, right? Why do we consistently get that same objection? Why, no matter how many times we reframe something or have an affirmation, does the same thing keep showing up? Reason why is because we're looking at effect instead of going back and looking at cause. Now, the best part about this, you guys, is cause can be done at the subconscious level. Okay, it's something you can learn to do. We're going to do an exercise at the end that actually gets us into cause, and we're going to help you set some goals. But cause is essentially your subconscious. It stores all the memories of your entire life. It also stores memories of your birth and the 9 months or 10 months, I guess, that you were in the womb. It stores the cellular, right, inheritance from your grandma and your grandma's grandma, and so on. That's, we talk about generational trauma. That's where that would come. So why I love NLP is it goes into the cause immediately. For example, I had a girl, one of my leaders, that consistently, I used to think she was inconsistent, right? I've been inconsistent, no judgment here. We've all been inconsistent. But every time she got stuck, it was a result of not being consistent. So over and over, we would have these conversations and would talk about, here's how we fix inconsistency. Maybe you can spend 20 minutes, working more. Maybe you can spend time block, and instead of 20 minutes in the morning, we're going to do it at night. We were trying to fix all this effect, right? What we weren't looking at was the cause of why this was happening, why she wasn't able to manage her time, why she wasn't able to be effective in that time frame that she had, and why the same issue continuously came up, right? By the way, what it boiled down to was a simple overwhelm type feeling. So what NLP does, it allows us to target that issue and get rid of what we're seeing in effect. But that's why cause is so important. Now, as team members, and obviously you're with Monica, you're on her team, this is something you can consistently ask yourself. Okay, I could spend days on this one thing, but most of the world walks around in effect. Okay, most of the world. I'm scared of COVID. I'm scared my team won't grow. I'm scared, blah, 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 blah. This is happening. My kids don't like school. Da, 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 my husband doesn't help, right? We're walking around, we're walking effects. But what we're not in is cause. Cause is why we're feeling effect. Is this landing? Does this make sense? I'm going to get into it a little bit more. So this isn't important that you know all of this. It's just important that you've heard it from me, okay? So 95% of everything is unconscious that we do. 5% is conscious. So when we're looking at our daily habits, right? For me, I'll tell you what happened to me early on. I would struggle with back then it was making my calls. Now it could be reach outs, right? We call them reach outs. It could be on social media, Facebook, Instagram, whatever you're doing. TikTok seems to be big now. So if we're habitually inconsistent, the reason why you are is because 95% of that is unconscious, which is literally impossible to figure out from the conscious level. Does that make sense? So a lot of times we look at maybe something in our lives like, gosh, why do I always say I'm going to prospect? This was me early on. Why do I always say I'm going to prospect a half hour a day and I don't do it? Right? Why? I know I need to be doing it, but I'm not doing it. Right? That's because the 95% of the reason I'm not doing it is unconscious. It's behind the thought process that we have. So all of us as humans, all of our habits, our beliefs, our skills, our emotions, our feelings, 95% are stored in the unconscious mind and come from the unconscious mind. Okay, 95%. So 5% is conscious. Now I'll tell you why this is super important for you, because you can tap into it at any time. Our bodies remember things like feel, hear, smell, see. Okay, so touch as well, but I typically relate that to feel. So when you have a memory of anything, your business, your wedding day, your kids being born, you remember and see pictures in things like how it smelt, how it felt, what you heard, and what you saw. That's why if I say something like, hey, what is your refrigerator? Where's your refrigerator? When I say that, everybody's probably going to picture your refrigerator and you're going to picture what it looks like, right? Immediately. Our pictures in our mind fires so fast. Well, so does all of your thoughts, your feelings, your habits, and your beliefs. So let's try something. We did this, Monica, I don't know if you remember, this is one of the exercises we did. It's called the resource anchor. And this is something that is really actually pretty easy for you to tap into. And my goal for the resource anchor is to kind of increase your motivation. This is the one thing I find in network marketing teams that I like to work on is motivation, right? Because most of our results are according to our own motivation level. Would you agree? Because it's our motivation level to contact new prospect business partners, customers, buyers, sponsors. I don't care what you call it, right? It's really based on our own motivation level, and we're not always going to feel motivated, right? In fact, I will tell you 90% of the time, I'm not feeling motivated. I'm just not, right? It's just, I have to be completely honest. I'm not one of those that wake up like, yes, like I love what I do. I can't wait to do it all day, right? I'm just not. And that's okay, right? That's okay. And if you're not either, I'll give you a tool. So I want you to try something for me. I want you to close your eyes and I want you to make a fist, just a regular fist like this. I don't care how your thumb is, tuck it, whatever. I'm kind of a thumb tucker. So however you want to do your fist, okay? Make a fist. And I want you to close your eyes and I want you to recall a time. Before you do this, I want you to take a deep breath. Just in, hold for a few, and blow out. I want you to wiggle your toes. These are all things to really help you get in your body, by the way. Most of us are not in our bodies 99% of the time. We're reacting. So I want you to feel your heart beating. And I want you to make a fist. And as you make that fist, I want you to recall a time when you were totally motivated. Recall a time. What did you see? What did you feel? Did you hear anything? What did you smell? Who was there? Recall a time where you felt totally motivated. And as you feel yourself go into that state, I want you to squeeze your fist. And this is called anchoring. You're anchoring that neurology. Now I want you to recall a time when you were totally powerful. Totally powerful. What did you feel? Who did you see? Where were you? What did you smell? What did you hear? And as you feel yourself go into this state when you felt really powerful, again, I want you to squeeze your fist and keep squeezing your fist as long as you can feel those feelings. And now I want you to recall a time when you felt totally loved. Recall a time when you were totally loved. And as you feel yourself, recall what you felt, who you were with, what you saw, what you smelled, what you heard. As you feel yourself go into that state, squeeze your fist. And now recall a time when you were inspired, totally loved. You knew you could have it all. You had lots of energy. You were excited. You couldn't wait for what was coming in the future. What did you see? What did you feel? What did you hear? And as you feel yourself go into this state, squeeze your fist and anchor that feeling. And when you're ready, you can come back to me. And this was a really simple, by the way, exercise. I do this a lot of times in groups because it's simple. But what it tells you is you can recall moments that you felt really amazing, right? They don't have to do anything with business, right? It could be the birth of your first child. It can be, something in your relationship. It can be when you got the call that you hit that big rank. It could be when you're on stage. You can anchor these feelings. And when you anchor them, your subconscious, when you make that same fist you did with me tonight, your subconscious will remember what you just anchored. this is why it's really important. So the one thing I'll teach you tonight, real quick, is anytime you're in a really good spot, right? Something good happens, anchor it. Anchor it, because what we do is too many times we anchor what isn't good. We anchor when we're mad. We anchor when we're frustrated. We anchor what we don't want to happen and what we don't want to feel like. And I want to really caution you to anchor those good moments in your life, especially in your business. When something goes well, a prospect tells you yes, they want to come hear the Zoom, the presentation, they sign up their first Zaya, I don't know what you call it, customer, right? And that person wants to go build a business. Anchor, 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 anchor. Okay. Very, very important. I can't tell you how many times I work with women and they're anchoring what they don't want. So this is something you can teach your kids too. I do this with my girls all the time. Okay. Oh, did I? Okay. Not going there. Not quite yet. All right. So how we make decisions and how we get results in our business. By the way, this is every single person on your team, and this is every person you're going to talk to about Zaya, right? This is every person that's going to buy athletic wear. This is everybody in the entire world. What is in our mind is how we get results. It's how we make decisions. It's how we buy. It's how we essentially do most everything in our lives. So one of the things I like team members to be aware of is buying ways that people buy that you're talking to. Because what happens is a lot of times we hear things in network marketing like just collect no's, right? Keep getting no's because your next yes is on the way, right? These are all things that I was taught. I don't always agree with that. No's are fine, right? But I think when we understand the mind of our buyer, because who doesn't need athletic wear? Like seriously, you guys, right? Who is not walking around in leggings like all the time? I'm so good at walking around in my leggings that I put on these dangly earrings, right? And like a little brooch on my jean jacket, and I like dressed up, right? Right? They're like, what woman doesn't do that? Like, what, you guys are in such a phenomenal place in your company. I can't even tell you. Like every generation needs you, right? My mom, that's all she wears, leggings and yoga pants, and right, and down to my girls, they're 16 and 20, and I'm trying to switch them because they're avid Lulu, and I hate Lulu, right? So Lululemon. So where you are, and every woman needs what you have, but keep in mind the way that they buy what you have. Okay, all of us buy differently, but we buy one of these ways. Okay, so we either buy because of the pictures we see in our mind, meaning if I relate it to Zaya, it would be, ooh, I would look really good wearing those. Or, ooh, she looks cute in those. Or, ooh, she has my body type. I bet I could fit in those well, right? It's pictures. Other people, it's what sounds and what that holds in our mind, meaning, oh, those sound good. That sounds like something I'd wear, right? Or, yeah, that sounds good. That sounds reasonable, okay? Other people buy from the feelings they hold in their mind. Oh, that feels soft. That feels good. That looks like it feels soft. Oh, I'll feel so good in those black leggings, right? Especially if they don't show my cellulite, right? I got a little cellulite on the back of my thigh. It's a big issue for me, right? So every time I buy leggings, I'm like, will they hide my cellulite? These problems. I'm 45 years old. You guys, I've had cellulite since I was in 8th grade, and it just drives me crazy. So Zaya covers my cellulite. I love you guys. So, all right. So the feeling, so kinesthetic, we call it kinesthetic. It's why women buy how something feels, okay? A lot of times this is why people buy luxury brands too. Like, just feels so good to have my Louis Vuitton, right? And the other reason people buy and the way people buy is if it makes sense. That is their self-talk in their mind, right? So that's like, oh, I could afford to start this. Or, oh, it makes sense that I would buy leggings. Oh, I wear leggings every day anyway. Why wouldn't I just switch brands, right? So it's the how we think about things, and it's our own self-talk. Typically, a person that buys like this, it has to make sense. So I want you to be aware of this. I talk a lot to people in athletic leisure for this reason, because if you can tap into, by the way somebody buys, you're golden. You're golden. And I think with athletic wear, it's easier. My company, we're in wellness, right? So it's a little bit harder because people typically don't like feel wellness, right? They might feel better, but they don't feel like a material or what they look like. Okay, so it's a little harder. With you guys, it's simple. So I want you to be aware of this, and I'm going to talk to you why that's important here in a second. And I want to touch on this. I'm not going to go too much on this. I have another piece that goes here, but I did this with Monica's original call. And I believe the key in network marketing is recruiting. It just is. However, your comp plan, you can show me any comp plan in the entire world. It does. There's nothing that beats recruiting. I don't care if you get paid on 1 millionth, kabillionth, trillionth level. Okay. If you're not recruiting, we're not growing. It's just how it works. And I've been here 20 years, right? I've watched every company out there. I know it, right? So always be recruiting in some form. It doesn't necessarily mean recruiting business partners. That tends to be what I like to do because that keeps your business growing faster, right? That way you're not pushing the bus by yourself. Other people are helping you push the bus, right? That's where momentum is created. However, I have a lot of customers. I'd say 80% of my business is customers only. Okay, just buying. And I don't know what your ratio is, but my guess is you have a lot of people or a lot of women that buy that don't necessarily refer or sell, right? So the key here is really to understand your power from a linguistic perspective, meaning so many people think when you sell something or when you try to get somebody to join your team, or you want them to become we call them business builders. Okay, you can call them associates. Some people call them sponsors. Some people call them, I can't remember, but I forgot what Zaya you guys call. But basically someone that's going, okay, Monica, what do you call them? Reps. Okay. So as you're recruiting reps, a lot of people think it's words, right? I got to say the right thing. I got to read this script. I got to say what Monica says. I got to listen to Monica. I used to have people that are like, I just need to listen to you over and over and over and over, which is fine. But what they were trying to do was copy my words, right? You can say any word in the world and give it meaning by your physiology and your tonality, right? Any word. I could say leggings, or I could say leggings, or I could say leggings. All three of those said something different. All three of them, right? Most of what communication is in tonality and physiology. Now, the key, and this is so great with you guys, you can use Zoom now. Back when I started, I could only use tonality for a good 12 years. So I'd play with my voice. Now they can see you on Zoom, which I love some days, right? So I want you to remember that majority of success in this business is your ability to build rapport. This is with your team and this is with new potential reps, okay? And there's something that I teach called mirroring. Matching is harder. By the way, too, when I started, we had to do like one-on-one. If we wanted to see each other, we had to meet. Right? Not fun for a stay-at-home mom, just FYI. So that's why I did most over the phone. Now you can do Zoom. The problem is you can't really match someone because if you raise your right hand, then to match you, I have to raise my left so we can, does that make sense? Because we're backwards. So Zoom's harder. So I teach mirroring. Mirroring in rapport building when you're talking to someone is essentially matching what they're doing. If they tend to be really movie, then you kind of move a little bit, right? If they tend to be close to the screen, then you're close to the screen, right? If they're a little bit lower, a little bit monotoned, then you're a little bit lower and you're a little bit monotoned. If they're like, oh my gosh, it's so amazing, I can't wait to get started, then you're like, you're gonna totally love it, right? So it's matching because people like who they are like, right? We've heard people do business with people they know, like, and trust. Yeah, but let's take it further. People like who they're like. Right? You can tell energetically who matches you in a room, right? You can just kind of go towards them like, ooh, I like her, right? So the way to help a lot of people like you is to match their tonality or their physiology. How do you do this on Zoom when you have a group? You guys are a group, it's just me talking. I do things like, I'll lean forward to capture attention, right? I'll lean back, I'll keep you here, right? I'll take you with me. I show my hands. This is something I teach teams all the time. I show my hands. The reason why, neurologically, it's why we say hands up, right? When someone gets arrested, they say hands up. That means I'm not danger, right? I don't have a weapon. Well, the same thing neurologically happens in our mind when you see somebody's hands on Zoom. Neurologically, it says, I'm not hiding anything. And that is key for our industry. Wouldn't you agree? Right? When people are coming to learn about something and they're coming and they're looking like, what is this, right? Am I going to get sold? That type of thing. If you do group Zooms, we do sales Zooms and those type of things, which I think a lot of us do. So know that you can build rapport and increase your sales the more you match tonality and physiology. Far less words, far less words. Okay, so that's why this is another great thing to tell your team. It doesn't matter necessarily that you say the perfect thing. Okay, it doesn't matter. I used to tell my team, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person, right? I do agree with that, but I should have added if you have the right tone and body language, right? Because people, again, your subconscious is looking at my tonality and my physiology. You don't notice you are, but you're watching that far more than you're hearing exact words I'm saying. Okay. The other thing too is I said this morning on our call, Monica, but those of you too that are doing reach outs, or if you're contacting people on Instagram or Facebook, TikTok, wherever, I highly encourage you to match tonality. This is key. If you've heard their voice already. If you haven't sometimes, and you're not yet there, or your team members are not there, I highly suggest texting versus voice messaging. I've been saying this to a lot. I helped recently, this couple weeks ago, I was coaching a 7-figure earner, and this girl she had recruited could not get anybody at all to come listen to their launch. And finally, I just said, let me hear her. So then she played the message that she asked the girl, voice text me what you're saying. And I heard her voice immediately, and I needed 3 words. And I said, no, that's the problem. Right. So then we worked together, and we just couldn't get it there. So then we went back to all texting words, and she had massive success. So a lot of times people say only voice text, and I get all that if you have the physiology and the tonality, right? But a lot of times people do things like, hey, Becky, oh my gosh, so excited. Like I have this business, and oh, I don't know, I really love to share it with you. It's just all over the place, and it's bad, right? So it would read better. So don't hesitate. I see so many leaders coaching only voice text, and I love it, and I honor that. Sometimes we're not ready right away, right? We're not ready right away. And that's okay. We've had great results just texting. Just keep that in mind while you develop somebody's posture, okay? I just want to point that out. Okay, so I don't want to go over that. I want to go back to, I'm missing one slide, and I think I deleted it. Where did my slide go? Look at all the stuff I could teach you. Okay, so I'm just going to teach it by talking. And then I want to have time, Monica, for questions and this exercise. So we're going to go for about another 10 minutes. Okay. That's okay. Okay. Some other ways too. Actually, let me enlarge my screen here so I can see y'all. You guys are so cute. You're such a cute team. Like so fun. It reminds me of just momentum and happiness and just working together. So, all right, do you guys want to learn more about sales techniques, or do you want to learn more about overcoming your stuff? Anybody want to?
You want to type it in the chat if you have something? Oh, sales techniques, Nikki says. Okay. Oh, Katie says overcoming our stuff. So
okay, we'll do both. Okay, that's okay. Let's do. let me quick think here. We're gonna do both. Oh, by the way, here, let me give you a quick NLP nugget. This is a Nicole nugget and an NLP nugget. Actually, I'm going to go forward. I didn't do this, Monica, with another company I just taught, but I'm going to go forward with you guys. Monica, is it okay if I teach this? We went through this today.
Yeah, that's great. I love it.
Okay. So the reason why I ask is because it's more of an advanced talk that I do, but this is more sales techniques. And this is something you can use really quickly. So I'm going to teach you the value of and but. This is genius. By the way, you can use this with your husbands. You can use this with your children. I and but my children like no tomorrow and they don't even know. So this is actually a really key technique. Anytime you're talking to a prospect and you want to cancel anything that you've said prior, you use the word but. It's why people say don't say apologies like I'm sorry, because but cancels anything you said before. This is also genius. I'm going to teach you how to make this work. So anytime I use this with prospects. So a lot of times today when I talk to women looking to work from home and I'm trying to recruit them, a lot of times they might be looking at 2 or 3 other companies, right? And this happens, which is awesome. I love our industry, but not when I'm trying to recruit somebody, right? Then it's like my company, right? So a long time ago, I didn't really know how to handle this when people would ask, oh, I was also looking at XYZ company and I'm deciding between your company and XYZ company. And I'd just validate like, oh, okay, I get it. No problem. Let me know what questions you have. I was fairly soft, not anymore. So today I'll validate the company, but I'll use the word but. So I might say, oh, okay, yeah, ABC company is great and they sound awesome, but our company, blah, 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 blah. So I validated the other company they were looking at, but I used a but, which means I canceled. Their subconscious isn't going to remember that, and they're going to focus on what then I did say. Does this make sense? But if somebody repeats it to somebody, they'll say, oh, Nicole said ABC company was good, but this is better. Are you with me? This works. This is why you don't use apologies. You don't use but, because you'll cancel. You use the word and. So if you want to keep what you said, then you use the word and. I do this with my team quite a bit. I do it with prospects quite a bit. If this is kind of objections and handling patterns. If someone were to say, oh, I really want to do this, but I don't have the money right now. COVID's crazy and my husband got laid off and I don't know that I can spend ABC amount of money. And I hear this, by the way, with a $19 investment up to $1,000 investment, right? I hear it. To me, money really is an objection because we all find money for what we are passionate about and what we prioritize. Just it. We just do. Same with time, right? So I will say something like, oh, okay, wow, okay, I agree with you that money can be tight. And that is exactly why you would be awesome working with our team, because we help women earn an extra $500 a month. I don't know, I'm just throwing language out there. Do you see what I'm saying? So I validate what they're saying. I don't cancel it out because it's true for them. Okay. So many people say that, or they'll use the word understand. Take the word understand out of any objection handling. Because if you say understand, you're sitting in the pool of that objection with them. So if they say, I'm just a really busy mom, I have 5 kids, I homeschool, I just feel crazy stressed all the time. And you say, oh yeah, wow, I understand that. You've just now validated what they said is truth. Same thing with our teams. When our team calls, I'm just so frustrated. I called 5 people today and no one wants leggings, or no one wants to buy, or no one wants, right? Or we jump in the pool. I understand it could be tough. We just then validated. Instead say, oh, I respect what you're saying. And now's really the best time for moms to get started with, kids going back to school. Or I appreciate, that thought. And now's the best time for women to get started in our industry, or now's the best time, or it's a really reasonable investment. You can do this all the time, right? All the time. But versus and. Definitely stop using understand. Definitely stop using that as talking with your team and talking to other people. I do this with my kids. So my kids now, of course, they're older. So now it's issues like, I'm just really frustrated. I'm trying to do well at school and I don't feel like I have great friends and I want to go to homecoming. It's always emotion, right? Always. Sometimes I use but too, right? Like, I get what you're saying, but, but a lot of times I use and. Like, wow, I respect that you're feeling really overwhelmed. And now's a really great time to invest in making really great solid friendships, whatever, right? The mom advice would be. Do you see how you can validate and suggest? Well, the subconscious then stays open to your solution. Does this make sense? This is really great. I could talk for years and hours and everything on just and but. I can't talk about it too much tonight, just time-wise. But this is one little trick that I want to give you, because it's fun to start kind of playing with it and listen to other people use words like but and, right? Okay. I want to touch on any of this. No. Okay, so let's go back. We're going to do an exercise here in a second. I'm going to see if I want to cover anything else. Okay. Just real quick on this. The other thing that's really, really important is if you you yourself bump up against something that's coming up consistently for you. You don't like making, we call them prospecting, some people call them reach outs, but you don't like making new connections, right? To possibly join your business. If you keep backing up to the same thing, right? I want you to look at, and this is something that I work with network marketing teams all the time. If I work with a woman that's not in network marketing, I have to go a different angle. With network marketers, I go this angle. 9 times out of 10, it's a belief issue. To be massively successful, and I consider massively successful 6, 7 figures. To be very successful, I consider around $50,000 a year. I would take $100 a month from any company that wanted to give it to me, right? So I'd cash that check too. So there's all levels of success. All of you are here because you said yes, right? I don't know what level or status you are. Most likely you have recruited a few people, or 1 or 2 or whatever. By the way, if you recruit 1, you can recruit 1 million. The game doesn't change, right? My first check in this industry was $2.35, and I bought 2 burritos at Taco Bell. And I was dang proud of that because they were free, right? So, and I retired my husband year like 2.5, and the rest is history, right? So 9 times out of 10, if somebody's backing up to the same thing, it's a belief. So either maybe they lack belief in the company, the product, or themselves. And I see all 3 circulate in all of my leaders, and I've gone through all 3. So a couple things that I want to give you tonight, in particular to your company, is check your belief level. Where are you as far as Zaya as a company? Where are you as far as Zaya products, clothing, everything else? And where are you when it comes to yourself? How you'll know if you're not super congruent and feeling powerful in any of those is when you ask yourself, if you journal, if you write down how I feel about Zaya company, you're going to feel it in your gut. Because when you're aligned and you believe in something, everything is kind of flows. It's like grace and ease. But when you have that like feeling in your gut, you guys know what I'm talking about? It's like a feeling in your stomach. It's like your core tightens, right? It's why affirmations are a yay and a nay for me. Because if you don't believe what you're saying, it can have the opposite effect, right? If I say, today's going to be a great day and I'm going to rock sales, and deep down I hate sales and my stomach twitches, it's just not going to work. Does this make sense? So I always kind of check myself, like, where am I feeling? How am I feeling about, for me, for you would be Zaya, how am I feeling about the products? And how am I feeling about my goals? And look at the one where your stomach kind of tightens, or the one where you're like, ugh. That is the area you need to work. How do you work? Simple, 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 pimple. If it's in the company, get solid. Find your belief, right? I teach leaders all the time. Find one person of management in the management team that you align with and you believe in. There's your belief in the company, right? In the stories, the testimonies, in the success of the women, right? I don't care what you have to do. For me, we have like a monthly magazine, and it publishes stories and success and, people that advance or rank, and I'll read those, and that just enhances my belief all the time of the company and the good things. So whatever that is for you. The second one, if the belief is more in the product, you don't have to love every product your company has, by the way. Okay? You don't. You may like this version of leggings. You may not like this one. You may like this and you may not like that. That's totally okay. Go with what you love. My company has 500 products. There like 100 I don't like, right? It's okay, because there's some I love, right? Okay, and then lastly is belief in yourself. Okay, where are you in the goals that you have, in the goals that you've set for yourself? And I'll say for the rest of 2021, we're at the closing, like almost the closing quarter of 2021, truly. August to me, I've been doing this so long. August to me is always a tough month because we're moms and kids go back to school, and that is overwhelming. Can I hear it? Right? Because most of the time we're the ones buying the new socks and the lunchbox and the backpacks and the school supplies and blah, blah, blah. That's our job, right? At least it was my job, and I liked it, right? But it's overwhelming. There's school teachers, there's all these things. I don't have them quite as much now. August can be, but come September and after Labor Day, fall is my favorite. That's harvest season, by the way, right? Harvest season is the best season in this industry, right? That's really after Labor Day through Christmas. So we're coming up on the best seasons of network marketing ever, right? That's why don't buy time as not an issue to build. I don't want to hear it. Don't give me time as an excuse. Right now it is the time, right? Okay, so we're gonna do a little exercise, and I love this exercise. It's gonna require you to relax and close your eyes a bit. I do this a few times a week. I've recorded myself doing this because I believe setting new goals on a week-to-week basis is super important. You guys, and I would write these grandiose goals all the time, and I have massive goals. But you know what goals I need to rewrite all the time? It's the little stuff, right? It's the goals that aren't okay to write on every week's new goal list, right? It's the goals like call the bank, or the goals like, hey, get back with Jennifer. That's one of my leaders. Or I have to PayPal another one of my leaders, pay Stacy. These are the things that I'm talking about. These are goals, you guys. There's nothing wrong with it. These are like goals I write down. See my goals list? You see it? It says goals. Every day, I have a new one. Every day I write, here's my goals. Today, call Chase. Oh, I hate Chase Bank. Right? Gotta call the bank. I prospected for 30 minutes today. Still, 20 years later, I prospected for 30 minutes today. I didn't get on the phone, but I did text people back that wanted more info. Followed up with Jennifer. Rewrote an Instagram post. Didn't do well. Now I know, right? So these are like goals. These aren't big, grandiose, like reach ABC. That's in the back of my mind. Reach this rank, or have this many clients or whatever. That's always in the back of my mind. But as moms and as women, we need daily goals. And the reason why we need daily goals is because we need to feel ourselves cross them off, right? Because that feels so awesome, right? I'll like write stuff I already did and cross it off because it feels good. I'm like, oh, hey, I did something, cross, right? This is important. So this is why I think we need to do these goal setting scripts often. That's what I'm going to do with you. It's called the goal setting script. And what it's going to allow you to do is drop a picture of something that you want in your future into what we call your timeline. We all have timeline. It's all subconscious. We see things in the past, we see things currently, and we see things in the future. It's all 95% in our unconscious mind. However, goals are reached in our subconscious before they ever are reached in our conscious mind, right? It's often why when somebody hits a big goal and they cross stage and they ask them on stage, how are you feeling? And they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know. I've pictured this moment for so long. It's because they already reached it in their unconscious so many times before they ever realize it. So when they actually realize it, it feels like they already did it almost. It's like they're so overwhelmed with, wait, watch it on stage. It's really cool. All right, so you guys play with me. I'm actually gonna stop sharing this so you're not distracted. There we go. Okay, so wherever you are, uncross your legs, keep your feet flat on the floor. And if you're comfortable, close your eyes. I encourage you to close your eyes. I'm kind of one of those that likes to peek around the room. Like, is everybody else closing their eyes? We are, just close your eyes. And I want you to take 4 deep breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. And I want you to ask yourself, what do you want to accomplish or create in your life? And I encourage you to pick a bigger goal, something that you really want. Maybe something in your business, a rank, a recruit, a money goal. What specifically do you want to create? And when you have that, I want you to bring it to your mind. And as you bring that picture to your mind, I want you to ask yourself, what is the last thing that has to happen for you to know that you accomplished this goal? I'll repeat it. What is the last thing, the very last thing that has to happen for you to know without a doubt that you accomplished this goal? What's the last step before you say, yes, I did it? And when you think of this, I want you to create a picture. Create the picture of what that will look like. And I want you to be as detailed as possible. What will you see? What will you hear? Who are you with? How will you feel? Are there any smells, sounds, sights that are important to you? Be as detailed as possible. And when you have that picture, I want you to step right into that picture. So you're looking through your very own eyes. See what you see, hear what you hear, feel what you feel, to have that goal totally successfully, easily and effortlessly. And I want you to make that picture as vibrant as you can. Whatever makes you feel it the most, feel it from your gut, really feel. Are there sounds? What do you see? What are people around you saying? What are you saying to yourself? How good does it feel knowing that you can create whatever you put your mind to? Tap into that feeling and know that it feels so amazing to create specifically what you focus on. And go ahead and have your unconscious mind map across all the times you know you've been successful in the past. That feeling of being totally successful, totally alive, all the feelings of totally knowing that you totally have this goal. And when you have it all vibrant, it's bold, it's fully alive, I want you to go ahead and now step out of the picture. So I want you to completely step out of the picture, leaving your body in the picture, like it's on a TV screen and you're watching your own body in the picture on the screen. And I want you to take 4 deep breaths again. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Notice how the picture gets even brighter and even more alive. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Feel how the energy is flowing into you, already accomplishing this goal. In through the nose and out through the mouth. It's a symbol to the unconscious mind that the picture is already totally alive, totally awake, and totally congruent with your highest good. Now go ahead and imagine taking hold of that picture. I want you to float out and go to a specific date where you know your goal is already accomplished and achieved. Go ahead and drop that picture along your timeline in the future, right at a specific time, a day, around a time. And I want you to turn back toward now as it hits your timeline. All the events between today and then will be reevaluated. Every single one, every event, all the way from then till now becomes completely congruent. Notice how people you know and people you don't know are going to assist you in achieving your goal. Resources you didn't know you have and you did know have come easily and effortlessly to help you achieve your goal. Trust your unconscious mind. Trust you can take massive action. Because when you believe in yourself, you see it. You must see it for it to happen. People you know, people you don't know will come into your sphere of influence to aid you in your goal. Through massive action, inspired action, you're believing in yourself, the universe, God, we're all allowing you to create new connections to achieve this goal. Now, as we close, notice how bright your future in the timeline is becoming. It's like a sunrise rising up from your timeline, all the success, the prosperity, the abundance, the love, the gratitude, the health, all rising from your future. Now, when you're ready, I want you to allow your unconscious mind to guide you in your actions. And it's okay to float back down to now, feeling absolutely certain that this is accomplished, that the future has happened. The goal you've put in your timeline has already happened easily and effortlessly. When you're ready, you can come back to now, come back fully into your body, into the presence, and back into the room. Now, how'd that feel? This is a skill, by the way, that I use all the time. By the way, this is a form of hypnotherapy. You didn't know it. To put things out into the future. So I'll tell you a story. 4 years ago, when I first started this journey, I've done 500 hours or so of NLP training in person, learning, right? The stuff. So I had dropped a certain position in our company in my timeline. I just thought, oh, okay, I'm just going to put that out in the future. I don't know if it's a goal. I really want to hit it. I don't know if I can. I was going to work hard towards it too, of course. I don't believe things just magically appear, right? I think everything's aligned, including your work efforts, right? 2.5 years ago, I got a call and I had hit it. And I have to tell you a story in that I wasn't super close when I put the goal into the timeline. I committed myself to doing consistent work. I refused to be burnt out. I refused to burn the candle at both ends. I wanted to be present as a mom and present as a businesswoman wherever I was. But I think that inspiration, when I put it in my timeline, kept me motivated moving forward because I saw that picture and I felt the picture. This is before I believed in all of this, right? I let myself play. I'm like, I'm going to try, right? I'm going to try. So there are so many ways that we can do things. And I don't believe as women, we should be working so hard to have success. I believe success comes effortlessly, easily, gracefully with massive action. Does that make sense? And the more we can operate in that mentality, the more success we attract. Things are aligned, right? We're also present moms and present wives and present friends and present daughters and whatever else we need to be, right? Which is a lot today. So typically, when we do this in a group setting, I challenge you. I want you to journal about what the experience you just had. I just want you to journal, like whatever you picture you put out in your timeline, I work with women a lot too. Sometimes they really know they want to get married again. Maybe they've gone through a divorce. I've worked with women that have their children in massive trauma, drug addiction, things like that. We put things in the timeline. A lot of times one-on-one, we can go a lot deeper, but I want you to try journaling about the experience we just had. I just want you to write, and I want you to write. I don't want you to type it, right? My girls are always like typing. I'm like, stop typing. You must write, right? Buy pretty pens and write. Neurologically, you need to connect to the brain. The brain cannot connect through typing. The brain can only connect through writing. I think this is common knowledge, maybe not. But write what the picture looked like, what you saw, what you heard, what you smelled, write it. Because when you achieve your goals, it really should feel like it's the second time because you had already seen it so many times in your mind, right? Okay. So I know we've gone a little over, Monica and Katie. I have time. So if you guys want me to take any questions, I'm happy to do that. We don't have to do that. Just let me know.
Gosh, that was so good. Again, now you guys see why I just wanted more of it. Oh, it's so good. Does anybody have any questions for Nicole that they want? You can just unmute and ask if you want. Katie, I'm sure you probably have something.
Well, I've just been on your website. I'm a 3, so I identify with you a lot.
Yes.
It was so good. You did a great job.
Thank you.
What about saying I hear you instead of I understand? Can you see the chat, Nicole?
I hear you instead of I understand. Yes, you can say that. Because I hear you doesn't agree. It just says you hear. Understand is agree, but I hear you is I hear you or I see you or yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then you can say I hear what you're saying. Right. I use this a lot too. Again, I don't know if I mentioned this with team members. When recently I had a team member call me and she was upset about something that was said on a company call. And she was really frustrated. And she was kind of giving her spiel for a few minutes. And I said, oh yeah, I get what you think you heard and what you're feeling from that. The key point, I get what you think you heard. Do you see, we people have to take responsibility for feelings and as humans we forget that. We think what we think we heard was said, right? And as soon as somebody says, oh, interesting, I hear what you think you heard, or I hear what that may have sounded like to you. You see, so it's language is a way of helping people take accountability for their own feelings, thoughts, and beliefs. Does that make sense? And so many times we don't know how to do that. So we jump in the pool with them, but then we try to convince them of otherwise. And it's just one big, long energy drainer for everybody. Okay, any other questions? Oh yes, BFF Life CEO on Instagram. That's mainly where I am. I used to be on Facebook all the time, but I feel like Facebook's ancient. My girls are like, Facebook's for old people. I'm like, I'm old. I'm old. Old people, check. Awesome. Okay, so if anybody has questions, feel free to message me. I'm happy to help. I think you guys are sitting in the most genius spot for your company. You are. So I really just want to pour into you that I hope you take such advantage of this time. It's harvest season, right? It's when it's harvest, right? Let's harvest our corn, our leggings. Let's harvest our activewear. You really are. And so many women today are looking for a community, right? And if they can make an extra $500, $300, that would change their lives. And they're looking for a place to belong. They're lonely. And remember that, right? Remember, so no matter how much you've earned in Zaya, no matter how fast or slow or what you've achieved and what you feel like you didn't achieve and all of these things, remember you have something for her, right? You have community, you have support, you have fun, right? You have so much more than you even know. And you're positioned perfectly in where we are as a society, right? And where we're going. So keep that in mind, right? I work with a lot of companies and activewear, I'm telling you, is the one. It really is. So I hope this meant something to you. I hope that you learned something tonight. I'm just grateful that you came and you showed up for yourself and your family. And it was great to be here with you guys.
Thank you so much, Nicole, for taking time out of your busy schedule. Everybody loved it. It was.
Oh,
it was-
good. Okay. I love it.
I would love to do another follow-up call in the future if possible.
Yeah. Keep me posted. Yes. And I will connect if anybody needs anything, connect with me on Insta. And I'm going to go put on my Zaya leggings because I can't stand being in this dress. So you guys have a great night.
Thanks, Nicole.
Bye, guys.
Bye.